Hi there, listener. You're about to experience TADPOG. Tyler and Dave play old games, and there will be plenty of game talk, but also copious amounts of crude, off-color, offensive, and immature speech. So if you are of a rather sensitive humor constitution, we're just letting you know what you're in for with this show. It has games. It has jokes. You know, just games and jokes. Take the games, take the jokes, and have a good time.
Hello, Internet, and welcome to another TADPOG podcast. It's a show that happens twice a week where two old guys and one very understanding married couple talk about old games. Normally, this is Original Flavor Wednesday, where we'd be talking about a various game off IGN's Top 100 Super Nintendo games. But we're done with that. We finished that. We finished that last week. So this week, we're going to basically talk about the list. Talk about our experiences with the list, maybe our top 10. Just kind of do a two-year in review about IGN's Top 100 Super Nintendo games.
And as long as it's better than Tyler and Dave fail at math.
It already is. I feel like we've already made a better episode.
Let's stop now before it gets shitty. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Well, I'm your bittered host, Tyler, and I've had 3 shots so far.
What are you drinking?
I had a shot of...
Or are these vaccinations?
No. Since other people are skipping out on vaccinations, I'm taking them all.
We don't vaccinate our co-hosts, guys. We don't want to give you autism.
I've had a shot of Jim Beam bourbon.
Yeah.
I've had a shot of Jim Beam's Jacob's Ghost.
Of wolf-fighting fame?
Of wolf-fighting fame. Just eating Jacob's Ghost.
He lost that fight.
Yeah. I told him. I tried to tell him.
And Jim Beam Fire Eater. All of these courtesy of Ashley Shake of Fist Puncher fame, who spent about $200 on various whiskey and bourbon before he went back to Japan. So I've got a lot of it to go through. But since I've had 3 shots, I'll tell a story that is something that might upset my family if I tell a story.
Oh, those are always good.
It reaches back to classic Tadpog, where I'm talking about like fingering girls and things like that. So
those stories never end with us making an edit after the show is published.
But I've been holding on to this story for a while. There was this girl that I used to be, well, I still am friends with. I was friends with her, and we dated like a little bit, but we never were like in a relationship or anything. But her call to fame was giving amazing blowjobs. That's what she was. People knew her around high school as giving just really good blowjobs. Not in like a derogatory way. Like people didn't think she was a slut. Just like people she was with, she gave good blowjobs.
It was that good. Like people didn't just shame her.
It was so good they didn't slut shame her.
Yeah, it wasn't shame. It was respect.
And a few of my friends told me firsthand about how good a blowjob she gave.
How did they describe it?
More than one of these might be coke. I guess that was at one point in time. But
Nicole.
They just said it was really good. So, but her and I, we went on a few dates, we just kissed, we were just good friends, nothing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I was in the friend zone exactly.
When you kissed her, did her mouth just taste like dicks?
That's all I ever taste anymore. Nothing just really happened. It just kind of fizzled out. But at one point, she came up and she was visiting when Jacob and I lived together, our first apartment at Murray State University. But she came up and she was hanging out with us. She'd come over every few days and hang out. Jacob was friends with her. We had a good time. And one day when she came up, she was being extremely flirtatious with everybody. And I was like, all right, she's clearly today she is down. So later on that night, I decided she seems okay with it. I made a move, and she was into it. So we went back to my bedroom, shut the door, making out.
Playing Pump It Up.
She did play Pump It Up with us, and it was super hot because she would dance to all the salsa ones, and she'd run her hands through her hair and things like that. It was actually really hot. It's funny you say Pump It Up. But
a quick break to go masturbate, and then we'll be right back.
We're back. We're in my bedroom, and she's on top of me, kissing me, and then she starts to kiss down. I'm like, oh, all right, yeah. But very recently, I seen an episode of Friends where Joey was participating in a study where he couldn't come for like 2 months. So he get $10,000 in 2 months for not coming. And I watched this episode, and he was dating a new girl at that time, and she really wanted to have sex, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
So instead, he focused everything on her. The implication being like he only went down on her for like 2 months, and she was like super appreciative and happy. And there was one point where like he did it, and she was like, "All right, now I want to have sex with you. Now it's your turn." And he's like, "No, how about you again?" And then, like, the next day, he wakes up and his apartment's filled with, like, flowers and thank you notes.
Yeah, I've seen that episode.
Shit like that.
Yeah.
So then, like, she's about to do this to me, and I'm like, I know that every single guy has just, like, taken theirs and went off. I'm going to be different. So I'm like, no, you first. So then I grab her, we flip over on reverse sides, and then so I go first. Everything is fine for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
After about 30...
Like, what do you mean by, like, fine? Like, everything's just normal?
Standard issue.
Okay.
Standard issue. Military grade standard issue.
Like, you do a quick inspection, everything's where it should be.
Everything's fine. I get started.
Yeah.
Everything's good.
Great.
30 seconds in, I'm down there, and then I kind of hear something, and I look up, and she just starts hysterically crying. Like, not just like whimpering crying, like full on ugly crying.
Whimpering probably wouldn't be like much better.
I can see like becoming like emotional or something like that. No.
Man, you must
this
have some
was
really good fucking head.
or some really bad, or really, really bad. I think it's called Face when it's on that side.
Oh, yeah? Is it
Yeah.
called Face?
Face.
Nicole, can you confirm? You're our lady guest host.
Can I confirm what it's called?
Yeah, is it Face?
I don't know.
I remember that being a chant like before girls would take shots in college. Like, here's the leather, here's the lace, here's the guys who give good face, and then take a shot.
I've never heard that.
Never heard that
right.
either. I've always called it going down, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always how I've referred to it. So
I've always called it the Sopranos
Kinda
shame.
kinda
Because there's a
like-
whole episode of Sopranos about being how that was super shameful for men to do that. But like, so I just like stop and just look up while she's just bawling. So like I'm still down there like, what's wrong? And
Did you eat a lot of spicy food? Like, I know you like spicy food. Like,
well, see, she just about a month before her and her boyfriend had broken up. So I asked her what's wrong, and like through the tears, she's like, "You do it just like my boyfriend, and it makes me really sad."
about this time, you're thinking, God damn it, I should have just gotten the fucking blowjob.
Yep, because it was over after
God,
that.
Of course it was.
It was done.
Of course it was.
So like
No.
I get up and I hold her for a while,
Yeah.
and she cries about him and talks about him, and
Yeah.
then she goes home.
moral of the story, guys. Moral of the story.
Get yours first. Reciprocate, but get yours first. Then give face. Is this lovely lady listener?
I highly doubt it.
Okay, so
Highly,
so
highly
we're not gonna
doubt
have to
it.
worry about her getting
Nope,
mad. Okay,
nope,
great.
nope.
What's up, internet? I'm Dave. I'm your bespectacled host, and man, I got so many face-given stories to tell. Just so many, but I can't tell any of them. I've sworn to secrecy. But Josh, what I really want to hear is your story, because you a couple episodes ago said that you had a story, and you changed it because we started talking about something different.
No, we did I was going to tell a story, and then we did the quiz, I think. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to hear your story because I feel like that was a really good one. And you had mentioned that there were certain overtones to the story that might be it's a hot button.
Okay, so my mom is a wonderful person. She,
That's so sweet.
yeah,
She's a wonderful person.
bless her heart. Okay, so those of you Tadpog listeners that are Facebook friends with me may have actually seen this. There was this happened a few weeks ago, I think 3 or 4 weeks ago, and there was like a 2-hour window where this picture was posted and tagged with me on it. on Facebook. So
I'm sad I missed that.
I am
would've
too.
saved
Can we
it.
have this for the show notes?
So I got a Facebook notification on my phone, and I just kind of glanced over it, and I'm like, oh, Mom's tagged me in a picture she found.
Where were you at the time?
I was at home.
Thank God.
I was doing something else, but I was at home, and I didn't think anything of it.
Masturbating.
And then
Jerking off. Oh, Mom's having a picture. I'm gonna finish first.
Yeah, that's code for masturbate. I was doing something else.
Man, what else do you do at home? I don't even know what to do.
I was just giving face, had my phone right there. Just looked away.
Nicole's like, "Who is it, Mom?"
What does she want? I'm not having this conversation.
So after 2 hours of giving face, I finally checked my Facebook.
You withdraw with
And-
your face looking like your fingers after the bathtub.
Fucking cocoon.
all pruny. So my mom had posted several, I think 6 or 7 pictures of me that she was going through all this old stuff and found some old pictures, and she scanned them in and tagged them with me. A lot of them were you and me, Tyler. Ashley Shake of Fist Puncher Fame was in there too. Those
They were
all
good pictures.
All those
I
were
saw
still
those.
up.
Except for that one at my wedding where I'm super fat.
Yeah, but they were from like high school and things like that. And she found an older one from when I was probably like 8 or 9. And this was at Halloween. And it was me, my brother, and one of my brother's friends. My brother was a hobo, which I know you like to dress up as.
My mom loved to
Yeah.
dress me up as a hobo
Classic.
baby.
That's
Well,
a
I'm-
I was a hobo baby like 4 years in a row.
A hobo baby.
Yeah.
I feel that this is important too.
Why? Why would you dress your baby up like
A baby just riding the rails, just getting around with this can of beans. Like babies do.
Did she give you like the beard too?
Yeah, I had like a beard, like face paint, like a hat with a hole in
Are there
it.
photos of this?
Somewhere.
Oh my God, we gotta get these. Are you gonna do Kenna as a hobo for Halloween? Tradition.
So my brother's friend was a vampire, Dracula probably, and I was Steve Urkel.
Yeah.
I am white for all the Facebook listeners, but I was not in my costume. I was not white in my costume.
What do you mean you weren't white?
I was not white.
But how do you mean you are white?
Just say it.
Were you in blackface?
I was in blackface. So
Why?
I guess my mom wanted authenticity.
So you didn't specifically ask. Like she was like, she took it
I
upon
may have.
herself.
I don't remember this. I'm
Yeah.
sure I did. I could not have done that costume on my own. I had to have had help. So I was Steve Urkel.
Yeah.
And complete blackface, everything. So
Blackface. He said blankface, which is a different costume entirely. I'm going to go in blankface this year.
blackface is a little more socially acceptable. So
Only a little bit.
So I just panic. I forgot we were like watching TV or something, and I just like scramble for the controller to pause it. And I'm calling Mom at the same time. She finally answers, and she's like, I'm like, you've got to take that picture down. She's like, which one? The one of me in blackface, Mom. Take it down right now. She's like, oh, why? It's such a cute little picture of you. Mom, it is racist and offensive. Take it down right now before anybody sees it. And like people had commented and
What were the
liked it.
comments?
They were all like my mom's.
Damn, I didn't know Josh was so fucking racist. Did I do that?
What cute little apostrophe racist.
No, they were all like my mom's friends who saw no wrong in it. I heard my wife.
No, it's that liquor.
Nicole has also been taking shots.
Yeah, you guys are even at 3 now, right?
Yeah, the last one didn't go so well for me.
We should do a drinking game where every time someone references cum or a dick or an asshole or anything, you guys take a shot.
Oh, God.
So
Some mentions Josh in blackface. You take a shot.
So after you heard that I was in blackface, you were really interested in telling a story, but you wanted me to tell mine, sir.
Yeah, no.
So I'm really interested to hear your
No,
story
it's
now.
nowhere near as good as that. And actually, you're not done yet because I got a lot of questions. Did you decide that you were going to be Steve Urkel?
I probably did. Yeah, I'm sure I was really into Family Matters.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, who else
I
going to
don't
be?
remember.
Carl?
Stefan. I don't think Stefan. Was
Oh,
even
you're not a Stefan. No, you couldn't have pulled that off.
I don't think a Stefan was even a thing back then. So
I want to be Malcolm Jamal Warner, Mom. What?
You know,
Eddie,
the voices.
Eddie.
So, did no one say anything to you? Like,
nope. I'm
like never once did like a door swing open and be like, oh, did everyone was cool with it?
I grew up in Marshall County,
Right.
So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, everybody was fine with it. Everybody thought it was hilarious. So.
I could testify to this.
And we can't have this photograph for the show notes, right?
No.
Oh, really?
Absolutely not.
Really? What if I go into Photoshop and then re-white you? You'll look like Snoop Dogg.
We just put a
whenever
KKK mask over, Photoshop it over his public face.
You look like Snoop Dogg whenever he wears white face. It'll be fine. I loved Halloween when I was a kid. I never ever wore blackface, but I did hobo before.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the last Halloween that I trick or treated. Because that was the Halloween where I started getting shit from adults, where they were like, "Oh, hobo, huh? How old are you?"
Just a method, sir.
Just a man who's down on his luck.
Just bumping rails.
But one time I went as an executioner. And it was one of the times that I actually bought a costume from a store, and those little plastic pouches that have the black flimsy plastic handle that you take out and put on. And what it looked like, it's this, executioner's hood and black cloak. But what it looked like was the black version of a KKK uniform. I don't know what they call it. But because the hood just went straight up into a point. And I remember going door to door trick-or-treating. And the reason I asked you if anyone said anything is because every door I went to, people were like, "What are you?" They were really confused.
Okay, you also grew up somewhere besides Marshall County.
Well, this was a trick-or-treating excursion in Pennsylvania.
Did
So-
you have like a weapon
I
of some type?
had no
Oh,
props.
so you had to have the axe.
No.
I love execution.
I had no props. It was just me in a black KKK outfit with a little orange pumpkin bucket from McDonald's.
That's pretty good.
I like to think that they made it black as an afterthought.
And I like to think that they were like, you know
How are
what?
we going to use all these KKK?
Right.
Dye 'em black, sell them as executioner costumes.
Done. Nicole, what's up?
Hey.
Coffee? You feel all right?
Yeah, no, the wheezing and coughing is from the bad shot that I had. So,
That one's still messing with you.
yeah.
Got a little in your
That's
lungs.
not good, yeah.
Got a story about Halloween costumes or oral sex? Because that's where we're going.
Or do you have a story about a podcast you're about to start?
I have a story about being hit on. The most flattering time I've ever been hit on.
That's sweet, Josh.
Yeah, we got to.
A couple years ago. Was it 2 years ago?
Whenever
I know what you're
whenever
talking
I was giving her face, and I was like, "Everything checks out. It's all standard."
That's very flattering.
You're good to go, man.
or you're doing that, the hotel person comes into the room. You're very pretty. Thank you. Just getting some face. Leave some towels, please.
And the cleaning lady's like, I know the rhyme.
Anyway, 2 years ago, I guess, whenever we were at Dragon Con, Josh and I were coming back from the burlesque show, and it was like 3:00 in the morning, and we stopped at one of the hotels, and Josh went into the bathroom, and I was standing outside waiting. And this girl came up to me dressed as
Naruto.
Naruto.
She is correct.
Naruto. And it was like, she was really smooth about it. She like looked at me and she's like, "Hi, are you waiting for someone?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm waiting for my husband." And she kind of looked down. She looked up at me and she goes, "Well, really, I was kind of hoping that you were waiting for..." And then she looks over at the women's bathroom. And then she looks back down. She goes, "Well, actually, I was hoping that you weren't waiting for anyone." And it was I was so flattered. I told her that I was very flattered, but I was happily married.
I'm super wet right now, man. You put some slip back in this slide, but I don't go that way. Thank you, though.
The saturation levels are heavy.
There's a crocodile in this mile now. Thank you.
It's a good way to get senpai's attention, though.
So yeah, the most flattering time I've ever been hit on was by a woman.
Because Josh, were you like, can we go find her? Is she still-
Yeah, we've looked for her every year since then.
You dress as Sasuke
no luck.
and Nicole dressed
So-
as Kakashi. You're trying to misconnections on Craigslist looking for our Naruto.
Sorry, Naruto girl?
Naruto.
Okay. If you're out there, if you're a listener,
Oh, she is. Yeah, most definitely.
we'll be at Dragon Con again in August.
I don't think that. I think that she's just interested in women, so
Well,
she may let you watch.
my wife will be there. I will be in the room.
I'd be flattered, too, because female Naruto has never hit on me. Every year I go to Dragon Con, it never happens. I wait around bathrooms, nothing.
Always waiting around bathrooms. Somebody's going to hit on me in front of this bathroom.
Excuse me. Yes. I was just hoping you'd fucking move so I can go to the bathroom.
Maybe
Sorry, ma'am.
maybe you're looking at it the wrong way. Maybe you should hit on a dude. Like, find a dude waiting at a bathroom, hit on him, and just continue on. Just make him really flattered.
And they'll pass
He'll
it on.
turn
They'll
you-
pass
yeah.
it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a weird pay it forward.
Yeah. Or I could just buy his food if he's behind me in the drive-thru. I can just do that, right?
Yeah. You should probably hit on him.
I've only been outwardly hit on like once, and that was when I was a server at Huddle House. Like this girl and her mom were sitting there, and I waited on them. She asked, the girl had to be like 15, 16, and she was like, "So how long do you work today?" And I told her how long my shift was, and she's like, "Oh, I'm, just out looking for a boyfriend." And like I just kind of look at her and like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Could I have your phone number?" I was like, I don't think my girlfriend would appreciate that very much. And she said, I was like, "But thank you though." And she said, "Oh, okay." Did not tip me. I was like, I should have rolled with it and given her like time and temperature, because that's what I've done before. So.
I've never been hit on. Never. Usually it's been like someone has come up to me, and this is outside of elementary school, and been like, "Hey, she likes you." I don't know.
I've never been hit on. I have been like just flat out propositioned while I was at work.
Oh, you've been flat out propositioned in front of me before when I did it to you. No, in front of the strip club. We've told the story
we've
on
told
the
story.
yeah,
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And that's how you know Josh's dick is big enough.
No, because I worked as a massage therapist for about 3 years, and being a guy massage therapist, I don't have to deal with a lot of the clients that are wanting happy endings. But there was one.
There's always one. Dave.
Yeah. And he didn't so much ask or anything like that. He just started humping the table. So,
All right.
I mean, if that's not a proposition, I don't know what is.
Maybe you just had an itch.
I could turn over and make this a real show. Hump.
Maybe he's just really into that table.
I've actually,
It's true. He could have been hitting on the table, I guess.
I didn't think of something. There was one time that I was most certainly outwardly hit on. And this actually, Josh, do we have time for me to tell an incredibly
Yeah.
interesting story.
Yeah,
At
your
least it's
Podcast,
interesting.
bro. You do what you want.
We're just talking about the list a little bit. It's like we have a game to talk about. So yeah, tell it.
This ties in with not only being outwardly hit on, but also with Josh, your suggestion to hit on a guy. When I've talked about the Germany trip a few times. On that trip, there was a buyer for another luxury store. This guy owned the store. And he kind of hung out with us because he was American and we were American. And I have never told this story.
I've never heard this story.
I have never told this story I've told the story to one person, and I'll tell you about that at the end. So he's American, we're American, so that essentially means that he stuck with us, and like when we would go to buy, he would come with us, and then when we would eat break for lunch, he would break with us, and then break for dinner, and he was staying at the same place that we were. We got back one night, and he said, hey, would you like to come back to my place, to my room? I've got some beer. We can drink some beer, watch some TV. I was like, all right, yeah, okay, that sounds good. Let me just go back to my room, and I'll come up to your room. I go up to his room. I go in. He's at the door. Everything's cool. He gives me a beer. He's got a beer, and I'm like, all right, so cool. I sit down in front of the TV. I start flipping through the channels, and then I hear to my right, hey, and I look over, and he doesn't have his shirt on anymore. And I just kind of look at him, I'm like, hey, man, like in my mind, I'm like, all right. I'm not 100% sure he's hitting on me.
Man, I want the Herman's head scenario of like all your emotions in your head talking right then.
So I wasn't like 100% sure that he was hitting. Maybe he was just like relax. This is how he relaxes. So I'm like, hey, yeah, what's up? And I kind of like look back at the TV, like take a drink. I'm like already in my mind, like, okay, if things get weird, what do I need to do to like get out of here diplomatically? And then he goes, hey, why don't you take your shirt off too? I stood up and I said, hey man, you seem like a really cool guy. You might think that I'm gay, but I'm not gay. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm going to leave. And I left. And then I told one person who was on that trip with me, and I was like, you got to do me a favor and like run screens or something in case this guy like gets really weird or something. And then I was like, and also don't tell anybody, especially a guy named Tyler Holland. And certainly don't ever let me tell the story of the podcast. I was like, it was a weird mixture of like flattered, but also like really weirded out. It was like a bunch of emotions because it's like
I can't imagine. Like I'm not gonna hit on a girl in that manner.
I mean, it was just.
I can't imagine.
It was so.
You want to do the naked man. You want to do the naked man tactic, but you don't have enough courage. So you just go halfway. You just take off your shirt.
It just seems
It was
weird.
overt.
It seems weird because it seems like something that a pedophile would do.
Well,
Right?
I was 9. I forget that I
Drinking
You were
beer.
dressed as a hobo, having a beer in somebody's hotel room. You were in your
It does. It
executioner's
seems like
hood.
something a pedophile would do. Come back with me, watch some TV. Oh, you're gonna drink beer. It's cool.
That is
Take
like
my
every
shirt
episode
off,
of-
Take your shirt off.
Only
Nothing
because-
wrong
Did
with
you-
this.
only
Just
because
you
I'm
guys
pretty
put
naive.
your
Just
shirts.
two bros just drinking beer. We'll watch some Jersey Shore, take our shirts off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he
it's
ask to
weird.
sit on your lap or anything?
no, because I got out.
Then
You should have stuck with it, dude.
it
You
does seem
should've
like
said
it's like a To Catch a Predator episode. You're right.
Yeah. Well, because like as I was leaving, I was like, "No, man, I don't think so." He's like, "Come on, take off your shirt. I'll rub your shoulders." I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
no,
Wait, hold on.
Thank you very much, sir. But I need to get back to my room.
As a massage therapist, there's nothing wrong with rubbing somebody's shoulder.
See, I want to go. I wish I could go
Until I
back and
start
watch.
humping the table.
I want to go back and watch all the footage of like you interacting with this guy and like Tobias Funke. You have like somehow accidentally.
You think
been
I was leading him
sending
on?
like only inadvertently leading him signals like the whole time.
Like, I
so
mean-
he's like looking at the other room, just kind of nodding, like, okay, well.
Like, well, there was that one time I was like, man, I really like my asshole stretched out. Too bad I don't know anybody who's gay. Do you think he took that the wrong way?
What do you call this vendor? A blowy? I would very much like a blowy from you. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. The IGN Top 100 Super Nintendo game.
Hey, look, I
You
feel
guys,
like-
you guys have earned this. Do whatever the fuck you want. Say whatever the fuck you want.
Because here's the
Yeah.
thing, like starting the podcast, because this was your idea to do the podcast, Dave, and to do the IGN Top 100 Super Nintendo game. So then we were like, it's gonna take about 2 years to do. Do you think we can do it? I don't know. It's up until we got to like number 10, it felt like it was way in the line. Like we weren't gonna do it. So
It's like we took a loan out together or something. It's like we co-signed.
So I guess we're sort of now we're kind of like, oh, what's next? The whole premise of why we did this in the first place, we have fulfilled it.
Yeah, the whole thing could just
Our
implode.
Faustian pact.
All you have left are dick jokes.
I'm okay
Now
with
we're a
that.
strictly dick joke podcast.
I feel like we could probably keep 80% of our listeners just doing that. I mean, we're definitely going to lose the video game people, but
Tad Todd, or Tyler and Dave
Tell dick.
tell
Talk about dicks.
play old dicks.
Talk about
Tad
dicks.
Pod.
well, things didn't
We'll
work
work
out.
on it. It's a work in progress. So really playing through this list, there's a lot of games that if we hadn't done this, I would have never played. In my whole life, I would not have had some very, very good experiences and some awful experiences playing through this list. So overall, I mean, I'm endlessly thankful that you approached me and wanted to do this, and we, because not only playing games and all of us and telling these stories and getting friends together, I feel like it's made all of our IRL friend group tighter, and also we've met a lot of great people from the podcast that, of course,
Don't
would have
exist
never
in real life.
that don't exist. That I assume are just completely digital. So like Megalix or like Joe and Sam, we've actually met them. They're real people. We know that they're real. And Archivist Corn, we know he's real. We've met him.
Yep.
Still don't know if like Fish Lips Jay and Phil Hawkins, we don't know if they're real. They're
I think Phil
probably
Hawkins
real.
might actually be my Uncle Ricky, who like wants to support me but like can't openly because of his job or something.
So the list overall, good experiences, bad experiences, couldn't be happier with the experience. But overall, like I feel like we've had more mediocre to bad experiences than we have good experiences with this list.
With the games,
With the games, yeah.
not recording the show.
No, according to the show, has been mostly really, really good.
But playing the bad games, having the bad experiences, doesn't that make you appreciate more the?
I
the
didn't
good
realize how rare
A good
really
Super
good
Nintendo game
games
is?
were.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because really, I mean, I'd say out of this list, 20 of them are really good games. And the rest are mediocre to bad to terrible.
Man, I don't know about terrible.
Sparkster,
Okay, well maybe Sparkster.
the whole Star Wars series.
Okay, maybe not terrible.
I think it's
Very
pretty-
bad.
broken, maybe.
But
Yeah,
Sparkster's broken.
definitely broken.
Oh man! And then it's
Train
made
levels?
me train levels.
Sorry.
It's made me really realize like I try to get past a lot of my own biases as sort of my foundation as a gamer, how it was established, and the Super Nintendo with these games. So it has opened my mind to like games like Shadowrun, which I never would have. I'd heard of Shadowrun,
Right.
but I'd only heard of it as an RPG, like a tabletop system.
Right.
I've seen you play the Xbox 360 version co-op, and that was
completely different.
that
but
was
yeah.
all I knew about the world. But
Yeah.
thanks to the Super Nintendo game, there's this whole world of fiction that I think is fascinating that I would not have had any experience to.
Oh, cyberpunk.
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
Like I had zero knowledge of this whole thing before that. And then like Soul Blazer. So I'd played Illusion of Gaia, but like Soul Blazer, I have it, but I hadn't spent much time on it. That's a game. That's one of my favorite games on this list. I love Soul Blazer. For playing through Soul Blazer, I felt like I was playing through one of those like good RPGs like I used to, but I haven't played in a long time. And that was a really good and valuable experience to me to have playing through this list. And then the Bomberman series. Mm-hmm. I'd never played a Bomberman game, period, before 2 and 1 on this list. So
I'm really glad that you played those.
And I feel like those are some iconic experiences I just missed out on. And I'm very happy I have. Nicole
are
threw
you
up.
all right?
Nicole-
You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
It's still in your lungs, huh?
It is. It's awful. Awful.
Because all four of us had a really good time playing Super Bomberman. But then,
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't agree.
but then my own biases.
I was nodding.
Josh, what's your opinion?
I was nodding, and then I realized the listeners can't see me nod. So
Commit to the podcast, Josh, please.
But then sports games, I still had a hard time enjoying any of those that I didn't grow up with.
Yeah, I'm really glad that we got to play NHL though, because playing with Jacob and Miller was a lot of fun.
That were my favorite episodes to record, and then all of us together at your house playing it. Overall, that was really, really good. I really enjoyed
playing a lot of these games multiplayer that I didn't play multiplayer as a kid was really fun too. Like the fighting games. That was great.
Because you and Zach stayed up all night playing
all night.
King of
I was
Fighters.
so tired the next day at work for playing Fatal Fury 2.
Fatal Fury, King of
all
Fighters.
night with him. Same series.
Yeah.
So.
And then I guess puzzlers, like, I don't know. It made me feel like good puzzle games are just
Tetris.
really hard to yeah. Pretty much. Like so hard to come by.
Tetris or Bust a Move. Bust a Move
Bust a Move I enjoyed.
one
yeah.
of my favorite puzzle games.
I feel
on
like
the list.
Tetris, Dr. Mario, and Bust a Move were the only ones that I enjoyed. Everything else I felt was just bullshit. Especially, it was so hard for me. People love Tetris Attack so much, but man, it was hard for me to get past how atrociously titled that was.
Yeah, that was a mistake. I mean, it wasn't a marketing mistake. It was brilliant marketing. But yeah.
And then I guess racing games. I mean, Rock and Roll Racing was okay.
Rock and Roll Racing was pretty good, yeah.
So
Mario Kart, man.
other than Mario Kart, I was fine. I went in fine. I already had a solid base to build on for Mario Kart and F-Zero.
I didn't really have a super big problem with the racing games because, like,
I think I see a pattern. Like Tyler has to have a lot of the fantasy element in his racing
That's true.
games.
oh yeah, I mean, I'm not like Ryan. I don't really enjoy the simulation racing.
Yeah.
Like that's the spectrum that I'd like to stay away from.
Top Gear 2?
But Top Gear 2, I still think was not that bad of a game. Like I thought Top Gear 2 was pretty cool, and I would have ranked it higher or better on IGN's list. Can I share something fun Dave fact?
We love Fun Day.
Oh man, I'm gonna lay one on you. I've been holding on to this one for 100 games. Every time we've mentioned a game and its ranking, I don't understand rankings to the point where I should say, oh, this game should be ranked higher, because like I can't wrap my mind around higher would indicate that it would be better, but higher also be a higher number, which would mean it's worse.
That's why you should say better or worse.
Yeah,
Not higher or lower.
I mean, because like every time I say it, I'm like, I don't know if I'm being clear right now, and it's like, and then I'm like, oh, I know I'm not because I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe just talk in vagues from now
Yeah.
on. and
Oh
just-
yeah,
super ambiguous.
yeah.
Okay, so Nosh, speaking of collectively.
Do we have to answer at the same time?
Yeah, preferably. So if you could go ahead and mind meld.
Harmonize it if you can.
Like I remember hosting each of you like the first time you've been on. How do you feel now, nervousness wise, and how comfortable you are from when you started to right now?
It's a world of difference.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm much less nervous. I don't have to draw swords anymore.
I still like the first time that I heard that and you said, "Oh, he's drawing swords." I just imagined that you had a sword in a sheath and you were drawing.
That's how nervous I was, because I do own swords. So
Oh, we know.
I brought the swords, had them. I kept just unsheathing them.
I think that the biggest difference has been I feel less like I'm broadcasting to some strange internet audience and more like I'm just talking to like some friends.
I feel like, I guess it wasn't really the intention of the show at first. We just wanted to talk about the games, and then the show gradually, I didn't even mean for us to steer it the way it did, but it kind of became because we're not game journalists. We're not,
No.
in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So like the game,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
that the podcast slowly bending to where I've heard feedback that it feels like friends because we tell the intro stories, we share who we are and our preferences and things like that. So people feel like they know us. So it feels like it's just you're sitting down with friends and having a conversation.
That's what I like most about podcasting as a medium is that always, to me, has felt, especially in the beginning, podcasts always felt informal to me, conversational. I know recently that's kind of becoming, there's some very well-produced podcasts that are less conversational and more informational, I guess, like a lot of NPR stuff, of course. But to me, the medium is always best when it's people just talking and having a conversation.
Yeah.
And I really like that. I really like that, Tyler, you've brought that to the show especially well. I've mentioned this in the past, but like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for me was a turning point in the show where it was just like, oh man, we could have a whole lot of fun doing this show.
Yeah.
If we can just get over nervousness.
Yes, God, the first episode we were both like, are you nervous?
man.
Like really, really nervous? Yeah. Are you nervous? Yeah. Really, we're just talking to each other with two impediments right now because no one's listening to this but like Blake and our wives.
Yeah. Yeah, that helped like get over a lot of nervousness like in the first 4 episodes or so. And then Exalted Lord Mike of Purdue showed up and it was like, oh shit, people we don't know are listening. And it's like it's this weird mix of like, oh, that's so awesome, and also, oh fuck, man, better not screw up.
Yeah, because it's kind of I love it, but it's become such a different change. Like there are people all over the U.S. now that because what went from TADPOG to then people wanting to do the TADPOG Final Fantasy football to that then becoming basically a group for like the most devoted fans. So now that small pool of like the people who really, really enjoy the show, I talk to every single day.
Yeah.
Like I spend at least 45 minutes every day talking to this group of people, and it's awesome. I absolutely like from, like I said, Sam from Megalixer, and then, friends I had before, Paul Kluel, Phil, like Lord Mike, like
Don't forget anybody.
I'm trying.
You're gonna really piss some people off.
I know there are a lot of people. Drew Rowland,
Kyle, Lord Dennis.
Lord Dennis, who he's in there, but it's really rare we see a Dennis comment. And Tony,
Of course.
Jay, Cody have been added now.
Yep.
Now that fantasy football is over, now it's like let's open it up to the people who call a whole lot, and then like suddenly people are being added in.
I remember right before I was on to do Uniracers.
Laura. Okay, sorry, Josh.
Laura, Josh Edwards.
I remember I asked, I wasn't expecting anybody to have listened to it yet because you had just done one episode before that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I asked, and I should not have asked right before I was about to record because I was pretty nervous to begin with. I was like, how many people have listened to the other one? And you're like, about 50, I think. And then that was when it clicked. I'm like, oh shit, people are actually listening to it. Oh man. That's when I got really nervous.
You misheard us. We said 15.
But it's grown a little bit since. Are you okay?
No, I was waiting for you to talk. So while you were talking.
So you can hide behind the We're just going to name this one the one where Nicole coughed.
I think this is like the 3rd episode you've had that I've just coughed all the way through. At least this time it's like because I was taking shots of
It's
liquor.
not viral.
Right. It's not like I'm ill.
I forgot where I was going with that. Thanks.
Nervous about something about 50
You're
people listening.
nervous because people listened.
Yeah, and now what is your most listened to episode? Like, what are you up to
Yeah,
now?
how many?
2,800 last time I
something
checked,
like that.
and maybe higher than that.
So-
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I feel like we do okay for non-network, non-celebrities.
Just two old guys.
Non-pretty girls.
You guys
Recording
should-
in a garage.
We
Yeah.
should start a podcasting network with multiple podcasts.
That'd be
No,
great. It would be awesome if
totally
someone
agree.
would do like, if there was like, there was a woman that we knew, a young woman that we knew with like a really good voice and an excellent personality and an interesting perspective. If she would do a podcast on, like, I don't know, like a list of movies or something, I feel like that would be pretty good. That's
a pretty good idea. So we should probably pass that on to someone who meets all of those qualifications.
The Nardo girl, or
Yep.
Please, if you're out there somewhere.
No, yeah. I guess TADPOG listeners, if you are at all interested in listening to me talk about movies for an hour every week or so, just let me know.
please, and
Now-
actually,
now you're
please do,
committed.
because I
Yes.
really do think this would be a good show, and I really do think that. I mean, you're probably not going to talk about dicks as much as we do, but even if you don't, I think you would produce a really good show.
I mean, maybe 10% dicks, at least.
10%.
Yeah,
10%
dicks
per
minimum.
episode.
Well, and if you ever have any of us on as guest hosts, I'm not saying that you have to, but if you decided, then we can definitely raise the dick and butthole quota.
Okay.
You can,
Because I won't like sometimes you don't play the game. I won't actually watch the movie. I'll just come and talk about dicks and buttholes.
you can send in your dick pics and you can review them on
Yes.
the podcast.
Nicole reviews
Special,
dicks.
special segment of the episode is Dick Pic of the Week.
No, now you're onto something. Now you're really.
You just, as accurately possible, like describe his dick in 20
It
minutes.
it's just like in a full ASMR. This penis looks to be about 7.5 inches long. Slightly a tip that goes slightly upward. Not a bad dick. Not a great dick.
Color is Pantone 297.
So people have talked about us taking this list and
Yeah.
re-ranking our top 10.
Why not just do 100? That feels like a cop out.
Just do the straight 100.
Why don't you do
After we
like-
do all 700 plus Super Nintendo games, then I want to do that. But after we play them all, then make a true 100.
Man, that would be the only way to do that.
Yep.
You're right. But I want you to think about what you said earlier about, like, out of the 100, only 20 of them were pretty good.
Yeah, so we're staring at the barrel of some absolute garbage.
I do want you guys to consider for a moment how much time you've spent reviewing this top 100 Super Nintendo games.
I wouldn't say we've been reviewing.
Well, playing and musing about your
Commenting on it,
experiences.
yes.
What's next? I'll put an hour or two into that. Okay,
And then-
that's fine.
Consider that, and then consider how much the guy writing that fucking article put into it.
I think we put way
yeah.
more into it.
Oh yeah.
I feel like he just like Googled like Super Nintendo games.
Yeah, I do
until
not
he found
understand.
100. And
I don't know
just
the criteria at all
ambiguously.
to make this list.
Well, I mean, it's not like he posted a rubric or anything.
I wish he would have.
Yeah, but stuff like this is always really difficult. And we know that because, I mean, we have definitely gotten feedback from people who really enjoyed games that we didn't. So, like, I can only imagine,
John Sullivan and Kirby's Dream Course.
Yeah.
That was probably the most vitriolic of the games that they liked that we didn't like.
and then Tetris Attacks was another controversial one. Uniracers was another one.
Yeah.
Because I remember that being like...
We still got a 5-star review out of it,
Yeah.
but he was that reviewer
that
was not
listener
happy.
was not happy with what we thought of Uniracers. So, I mean, experiencing that, like, I understand kind of what this author went through. I mean, I don't think it excuses, like, the war crimes that he's committed. But, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I really wish he laid out an outline for how it got together. Like, this is evaluating the top 100 based on this and this and this and this and this.
Well, hey, I can lay out how I did my top 10. I just picked the games that I liked the best. There you go. That's how I did it. I didn't consider anybody else. I just was like, what games do I like the best?
I did that, games that I liked, plus I tried to put a little bit of universal appeal into it.
Yeah.
That's the only, other than my personal taste, that's the only thing. Approachability and appeal.
Yeah, you guys have made it clear these are your opinions, and you've pretty well explained why.
These are our opinions
Yeah.
and you should have them too.
But I mean, this guy was writing. He was representing IGN, so you would think he'd have a little more credibility. He would need to explain himself a little more, but But yeah, I mean,
I agree.
I think he probably had to have it on his boss's desk by 9 a.m. on Monday or something like that.
He was drunk, so it's, fuck, man. I don't know what. Honey, what game did you like? Top Gear 2. Okay.
She did not. She did not. So we're gonna
Take off the Naruto costume and tell me about the games you liked. I don't care how pretty that girl was in the bathroom.
and see that's how he's different than Josh. He's like nega Josh. So how you want to give our top 10?
Okay.
Do you want to do it? We just read a straight list and then the next person does it, or do you want to do it the dramatic way and I do my 10, you do your 10?
Or do you want? I do not my number 10. You do your number 10. I do my number 9. You do your number 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to do
sounds
that?
good. Let's do
Zigzag.
it like that.
Who's
Yeah.
gonna
Like that.
go first? Dave
don't
should
care.
go first.
I'm looking at Tyler's list right now, and it's just Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, Earthbound.
He's not wrong.
Did you copy my list?
Ruin that joke. Thanks for listening, everybody.
I've never seen you so hurt.
We've been friends too long. I'm sorry.
And Josh, Nicole, I see your lists are prepared in front of you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
If you
We'll just chime in if we agree or disagree.
there we go. I like
Yeah.
that
We will tell you how you're wrong,
Yeah.
and you should rethink your list.
because there could be some good discussion that comes from this. There probably
could
won't
be.
be.
Or like Jason wants. Jason just wants us to bitterly argue on the podcast. Just have raucous arguments.
Jason does.
Yes.
Didn't Shake say something about that too? Shake was like that we should argue more often.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling it's probably not going to happen tonight.
That's not how podcasts last 2 years. Having arguments.
I did listen to this show that I'm not going to name for a little bit, for a couple months, that I really liked the content of, but the hosts argued all the time. And at first it was exciting. It was interesting to hear like all the different points of view. But then it like degraded into like an internet argument.
Oh God! Like just developing a YouTube comments.
Which once again was entertaining for a couple of weeks, and then I like reached a point where I was like, okay, well, I get it.
That's what this show's about. Okay, a modern day honeymooners. I get it. All right.
That's exactly what I thought. All right, my number 10 game that I have is Super Bomberman 2.
I considered making that my number 10. It was very close.
This as a game that was ranked way worse than it should have been on IGN's list.
This was, I think, Phila brought it up in the Facebook group. Like, this is the most egregiously placed game on the list. That it was 89.
Yeah. And the fact that I also don't understand why Super Bomberman was ranked better than Super Bomberman
Top 50.
2.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there were enough differences to warrant that wide of a gap. And playing, this is one of those games where playing it with 3 other people was a new experience for me. Like that was amazing. Having that experience was amazing. And the fact that this game has that capability is it makes it wonderful. And that's how I feel about NHL 94 as well, is that out of all the sports games, that's my favorite because of the multi-tap. Even though I thought Super Tennis was the best single-player experience.
Yeah, I mean, that is a game that surprised me, Super Tennis. But my number 10, Bomberman 2 is probably number 11 because I had a hard time deciding what these two would be.
You want my number 11?
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim 2.
Nope.
Yeah, no.
Now we deviate.
Yeah, no one's going to agree on that one.
Because I say Bomberman 2, I think I enjoyed it more than Bomberman 1 because of its strong single player. I love the single player on Super Bomberman 2. That just wasn't there on. The multiplayer was pretty much the same, but all right.
Yeah.
My number 10 is Final Fantasy 2.
Okay. Why did you feel like you needed to just include it in the top 10 or?
Because going back, like it is like the story and the characters, it's so good, but I feel like graphically and sort of like a lot of its elements are tired even by the time it comes around. So I feel like it's a great game.
Yeah.
But like, and I think it should, and for the system, looking at all the games we've played, it should probably be top 10. But like, 10. I felt was appropriate for it.
My number 9, I went back and forth on this, whether it should be this game or if it should be this game's sequel. And that's when I made the decision to just go with what I like as opposed to what I think is better. So once again, this is just my opinion and what I like the best. For number 9, I've got Donkey Kong Country. I thought that Donkey Kong Country was ranked way lower or way worse than it should be. Thanks, Nicole, for giving me that trick when we're done with the list. I'll make sure to save it for the next list we do.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong Country is always going to stay with me. And once again, it's one of those games where it plays wonderfully single player. Like, this is a great single player experience, but the co-op adds a whole nother layer to it. And I went back and forth. I do honestly think that Donkey Kong Country 2 is a better made game than Donkey Kong Country, but there is just something about Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, like just those two characters. Playing as those two characters, I feel like there's a wider disparity of their abilities. There's a range, while when it's Diddy and Dixie, there isn't as much of a range. And in Donkey Kong Country 3, who the fuck cares?
Yep.
Because baby game.
Number 9, I had Star Fox.
Man, oh, yes. I almost had Star Fox on my list. In all honesty, that probably would be my 11, not Earthworm Jim 2.
Yeah.
Why Star Fox?
Again, it's not a game I'm good at, but I enjoyed it, and when we played through it, I really enjoyed watching everything about it. Because, like I said, I'm not good at it, and it's kind of a polarizing experience for the Super Nintendo. There's nothing else like it, and it's good.
I mean, other games tried, like Stunt Race FX.
So yeah, capitalize on the technology. It was fun. It was entertaining. Absolutely top 10. But I don't think it has as much no, you can't really pick up and play Star Fox. The normal person is going to pick it up and probably love it or immediately get it. So that's why I put it a little bit lower, but it's still top 10.
All right. I'm going to start getting into choppy water. Number 8, I've got The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. I know a lot of people are going to say that should be in the top 3. And once again, this comes down to me just not having a real connection with the Zelda games, that series. I had a lot of fun playing that game. I really did. And I think it totally deserves to be in the top 10, without a doubt. But just if I'd have played this game when I was a kid, maybe it would be ranked better. But just as a 30-something old dude coming in.
You're not that far into your 30s. All right.
And playing it for the first time and comparing it to other games, I wanted a little bit more. And Link's Awakening, that's the other nail in the coffin where it's I've played Link's Awakening, and Link's Awakening is so much better paced and has so many more interesting qualities about it. And
there's Bow Wow and
there's Bow Wow in
Goombas and
there's two Bow Wows in Turtle Rock. I think it's Turtle Rock, or it's either
yeah.
And I remember seeing them for the first time. I wish I'd have brought it up when we were talking about A Link to the Past, but when I saw them, I was like, yes. And Nick was like, what are you excited about? And I was like, Chain Chomps. And I was like, wait, it's Zelda. They're not Chain Chomps, they're Bow Wows.
You can, in Link's Awakening, you can actually drag one around and have it eat enemies.
Yeah. Oh, see, that is just an example of why that game. That's one example of why Link's Awakening is better than Link to the Past.
I totally agree with you. But I mean, I guess it has to stand in its defense that you're not crazy about the series, but A Link to the Past still makes it on your top 10.
Oh yeah, no, it's a strong franchise. Yeah. And after playing A Link to the Past today, honestly, I looked at the full list of Zelda games to see if there was another one that I would play. So who knows? I might play another one.
So my number 8, like Zelda, much further down the list for me, but still in the top 10, is Super Metroid.
Yeah.
Because I love the Metroidvania type games.
Yeah.
I feel like that genre of game, this is the strongest one on the list. Because Castlevania hadn't developed into that yet. So like this and kind of that horror element, and Metroid was still evolving, and I feel like this was the biggest step into what it would become.
Josh is shaking your head.
No, I was just picturing whenever he was talking about hadn't evolved into that yet. It was just the limp chain whip. You just kind of flip. It's like limp wrist flipping around. Yeah.
For my number 7, I've got Final Fantasy II.
Okay.
I think it belongs in the top 10. Maybe I was giving it second thoughts as you were describing Final Fantasy II. I was like, ooh, maybe I should have flipped it with Link to the Past. But I'm sticking to my guns. Final Fantasy II has wonderful music. Some of the best music, I think, from the series. The music from 3, of course, is better. But the music from 2 is something I can always go back to. Mm-hmm. I agree, the story is too linear. And the end is a total cop-out.
I feel like that is like everybody coming back is still like, man.
If they didn't come back at the end, then I think this would be like a really, really interesting game.
Yeah.
Because like even though it's still linear, just the fact that it becomes a theme at that point, right? The theme being that everyone who becomes involved in Cecil and Kane's lives die. Like that's a powerful fucking like theme. Like all these people, it's about sacrifice, you know? Mm-hmm. Like all these people sacrifice themselves because they think it's the right thing to do to save future generations. And then it's just completely ruined at the end when they're all like, we're back. Yay. Thanks for saving the world. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah.
It does lose all meaning because, they willingly sacrifice themselves and then...
It takes the power out of it completely. Yeah. But my number 7 game is Yoshi's Island.
I thought that might be on your list.
I still love this game. Love this baby game. Its art style, its play, its difficulty. Like, I love everything about this game so much.
It has a baby in it, but it really isn't a baby game because it's a fucking hard game.
Yeah.
Deceivingly from the art style.
Yeah. And I feel like now that it's had more games tacked onto it, like the Yoshi's Island DS completely, it makes me sad that it's lost all that charm I love so much. And it just seems like Yoshi's Island is a beautiful real antique, and all the games after it are Pottery Barn knockoffs they don't have that history and that weight, and it's just made to look like that. So.
That's a Friends episode, right?
Yep. Phoebe hates Pottery Barn.
Right. All right. Here's my number 6. Earthbound. Thought it belonged in the top 10. I didn't think it would. I mean, before playing the game, I totally thought Earthbound was a baby game. Back to play on that.
They have big heads. Okay.
That game really surprised me. I think it is pretty crazy that it's not in the top 10. Mm-hmm. I would play this game again, and I am actually really looking forward to playing Mother 3 and talking about Mother 3.
Yes.
My only concern is I know it's not going to be as good. I just know it's not because I know it's not translated by the same person.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that translator on Earthbound made the world a difference.
He's a genius. He's a genius.
Made a world of difference because that game could have been like if he took it by its art style, that game could have been really juvenile. And not in a charming way that Earthbound is, because it is juvenile, but it's done in a way that's almost nostalgic.
Mm-hmm. I'm so glad that you liked it as much as you did. Very, 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 very glad.
I was worried that I wasn't, because that is a game that has been hyped over and over and over to me. Not just from you and Josh and like people that I know and interact with day to day, but like game journalists. I mean, this is like Earthbound's one of those games where it's just like everyone seems to love this game. And the first time that I tried it, I didn't. And it took me a little while to appreciate, but I'm glad that I played it because it truly, that game is probably the one on the list that has changed my perspective of RPGs more than any other game.
Awesome. My number 6 is Super Punch-Out.
I almost put that on my list.
I think it is such a perfect sequel, and there's so much character and difficulty and replayability that I think it's got to be top 10. Got to be top 10. And for me at least, because I loved it. For someone who doesn't like sports games, for me to be so fucking crazy about it, like I think there's something really special about it.
It's that Nintendo
It's
spin.
got enough, fantasy on it.
Yeah, it's that Nintendo spin. Like they know just the right amount of fantasy to put on sports to like please the non-sports fans, and they know just the right amount of sports to put in the game to please like your dad, for example.
Yeah.
My number 5, I have a feeling that we're probably going to start to get real similar results.
Probably.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not in this one though. My number 5 is Super Mario Kart. I've got Super Mario Kart in there because once again, the multiplayer experience. This is a game that I loved playing with friends, and when John Turley and I played it together, it just brought back all those feelings. And I know it's kind of shitty to be like, I like this game because I have really warm, fuzzy feelings about it in the past. But I mean, it's true. And I honestly don't think that Mario Kart has done a versus mode as well as they did in Super Mario Kart.
yeah.
So
My number 5 is A Link to the Past. I don't really have any reasons besides what you said, so Link to the Past, number 5.
okay. My number 4, I have Super Mario World. It's a fucking classic. It's a fucking classic platformer. And I go back and forth time after time. I know we've had calls about it. People have asked us. Super Mario World versus Super Mario Brothers 3.
Why not just Super Mario All-Stars, man?
You know what? This is no joke. I was tempted to put Super Mario All-Stars on this list because it was like, it's got all the fucking Mario games. But I had to reel it back because, I mean, Tyler, I think your point is completely accurate. That game shouldn't be on the list just because it's not a Super Nintendo game. It's a collection. Super Mario World, man, is a classic, and I think it is a shame that it is ranked worse than A Link to the Past.
Yeah, I'm with you. My number 4 is Chrono Trigger.
Oh man, that hurt a little bit. 4, huh? Okay.
Going back to it, like I agree with everything that you've said about Chrono Trigger. I think it's wonderful and amazing, and the endings and the character, the pacing, the magic system. But when I sit down and look at it, I think I have gotten everything out of Chrono Trigger that I need. I finished Chrono Trigger, and I'm done with Chrono Trigger. So it's like knowing that this game, like, okay, I'm done with this. I don't ever have to play this again. I loved it. I've gotten everything there is to get out of it and set it aside. And then I just don't look back on it as warmly because I don't feel a draw from it anymore.
So it's not because we found out it's Isla and not Ayla?
That's mostly it.
Okay.
I feel betrayed.
It's like Tyler has had his orgasm, and now he's
Chrono Trigger's crying, weepingly.
Now I'm looking at my dick,
he's
just
looking
disgusted.
there's a word for it. There's a Japanese word for it. I can't think of the name of it, but it's
I know what you're talking
you've
about.
got that clarity.
Umami? Is that it? Umami?
MSG.
It's that clarity that comes after you have an orgasm. You can like finally focus. It's like you get like a sage-like mentality because you're not like worried about having an orgasm anymore.
But it lasts like 5 minutes tops before it. Yeah, I know. I've heard that too. I know what you're talking about.
So that's where Tyler's state of mind for Chrono Trigger is now.
My number 3, I've got Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Okay.
Yep. This is an amazing game. It is the best fighter on the platform. It is maybe the best fighter of that decade.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement.
And it's a game that I can go back to over and over and over again and play, and still play against other people who have who would straight stop me and have played this game for a very long time. I just love that this game has such a legacy, and it's a game that people still play, and it is like the fighting game that all the other fighting games have kind of compared themselves to since.
Just Street Fighter 2 feels like, to me, it's like it's a classic Mustang. And then all the fighting games now are like that car Homer designs in The Simpsons.
Wow, man, that's like a season 2. That's
It's
an early
pretty early.
season. Yeah.
Do you know Tyler was my, or I guess still is my Street Fighter sensei? I remember.
You haven't heard that. Have you heard this episode?
No.
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Talk about it?
Yeah.
Did he tell how he gave me homework to?
No, I don't remember that. I didn't remember
Okay,
that.
no, because I wasn't very good. I wasn't very good at Street Fighter,
Right.
so he would.
We know that.
Okay. So one day he came over after school. He like taught me how to fight with Ryu, and then he stayed for like 2 hours, and then he leaves. And he's like, I want you to practice the rest of the evening. He's like, he gives me homework. He goes, practice this move, and when you get done with this, practice this move until you master it. So yeah, he gave me Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
I think that's hilarious coming from Tyler, who like claims that he can't do special moves in fighting games.
I know they're important. I don't want Josh to miss out. Like, I can't do calculus, but I want Kenna to be able to do calculus.
Do as I say, Josh, not as I do. What you got?
Now it's my turn. My number 3 is Final Fantasy 3/6. Because you're right, it's always been a debate for me between Earthbound and this game, but I have to look about what I talk about more, what I try to get more people into playing, and it's Earthbound, so that makes this right behind it. So Final Fantasy 3/6.
Oh man, Final Fantasy 3/6 is the silver medal for you guys, because it was up between you, Dave, for this and Chrono Trigger, and you went with Chrono Trigger.
Well, my number 2 is Final Fantasy 3. Yep, my number 2 is Final Fantasy 3. It is a wonderful game that I can always go back to and play until...
It does sound like you're breaking up with it.
Final Fantasy 3, look, man, I love you, but there's this other game. And it lets me do whatever I want. And it also loves me equally. So, Final Fantasy 3, fantastic music. It's one of the quintessential Square RPGs, but yeah, it's my silver medal.
Because I feel like I can also still want to go back and play this game. So, like, I'm not done with it like I am Chrono Trigger. There's still, like I talked about that challenge I still want to do. There's still things I want to do in this game. I'm not done with it yet.
Yeah.
So it has to be higher for me.
Yeah, I guess from my, the way I justify it is I feel like, I know, I sound like a broken record because I talk about pacing a lot. It's really important to me in RPGs. But, I feel like the pacing of Chrono Trigger is better than the pacing of Final Fantasy 3. Even though it does, and I think the reason the pacing is worse in Final Fantasy 3 is also the best thing about Final Fantasy 3, and that is that the world completely changes. Mm-hmm. And then you have to start all over again, which is, that's really a wonderful thing because it's unique. But at the same time, that's, like I said when we talked about it on the show, that's usually where I stop playing the game. And okay, I've got my Final Fantasy 3 fix.
My number 2 is Earthbound. Like, this is where Earthbound, like, if I'm going straight personal preference, it's number 1. But
okay.
Because I want to try and be a little less biased to what I love.
We're not game journalists. Fuck it. Make it your number 1. This is our show, man. Do what you want.
No, I'll make it number 2 because I can understand, like, not everybody can pick up and play it and enjoy it, and it takes time, and it still takes a certain kind of person and a person of a certain age to get into Earthbound.
This is interesting because I know, Dave, what your first one's going to be.
I know what Tyler's first one's going to be.
Really?
We can each guess you want to guess each other's?
Okay.
My number 1 is, what do you think, Tyler?
Tiny Toon Adventures.
You motherfucker. I was going to say that. You motherfucker. Josh stole your jokes, so you got to steal mine? I was going to say that exact fucking game. What are you reading ahead?
Don't read the mod. Oh, shit.
Just kiss. Just kiss, guys. Come on.
Well, you guessed mine.
Yeah,
We all
you're in this too.
We have to do this Tadpog triple kiss while Nicole watches.
I'll be sure and videotape it.
Send it to Naruto. See my number one is Chrono Trigger. Man, this is a game that I can go back to over and over again and play from start to finish. I definitely haven't got all I can out of it. And it's not because it's a different experience each time I play through it. It's because it's the same experience. It's like, yeah, it is. It's like reading, for example, when I was, I guess, 12 years old, when the Jurassic Park movie came out, I read the fucking Michael Crichton book like fucking 8 times. Like I would read it, start from the beginning. Like I'd immediately go from last page to first page. And I read that fucking paperback over and over and over and over again. And every time I read it, I mean, it was the same story, but it was just so enthralling. And that's how I feel about Chrono Trigger. That's a game that I can just play over and over again.
Man, there's one book I did that with where I would just read it and then reread it and reread it. Man, it's the ending in the cupboard. I love that book so much.
Dude. Man, that was a great book. I read that one a few times. That whole series was great until I got weirded out with the skinheads. Do you remember like when they got involved in it?
Yep.
And I remember it being like, I guess it was like one of those cases where the author was like trying to grow the books with their audience. But I didn't start reading the books when they first started coming out. I started reading them way after. So like I just went through so many of them. And then I was like, the first chapter, some kid is outside getting his ass stomped by skinheads. And I was like 10 years old. And I'm like, I closed the book and just kind of set it down. I was like, all right, I guess I'm done with that.
I still have the original my books I got in elementary school. I have all 3 of them. They're all on Kenna's shelf. So one day I'll hope she reads them, but
you got to read them to her.
But it looks like they're increasingly like in the cupboard is in horrible shape. Return of the Indian, not as worn out.
Yeah.
The 3rd book is fucking pristine. I read that once and was like, this is awful. Put it back. Nope. What
kind of beard would you give the 3rd Indian in the cover book?
A plastic beard that was supposed to turn into a real beard and then didn't, and then you turned into a fake person. Oh man, that book it was ruined the whole thing. It's awful. I understand, and I also like when they made it into a movie, I was so excited because for my birthday, my aunt gave me basically a ticket that was me and one friend could go out to dinner and a movie on her. She would take us out. That was whenever I wanted to use it. So I waited.
Wait, it was like a coupon book, like a handwritten coupon book?
It was just like a slip of paper
free
and a
back
card.
rub, free dinner and a movie with a friend.
One face.
So I remember like in the cupboard the day it came out, that's what we went out to Fazoli's and then went to see In the Cupboard.
I've never seen the movie.
I was so disappointed.
It's really bad.
Awful. The actor who plays Omri is just like he must have sold his soul or something, or his parents did to get him in this movie because he's awful. He is one of the worst child actors I have ever seen in my life. And Omri was a character who meant a lot to me. And like this kid is just so terrible. And like there's this moment, I remember the look on the kid's face, like where he's looking at Little Bear and Little Bear's looking at him.
Man, you were bringing back so many. You are giving me so many feels right now because like these are names that I've long forgotten. I have long forgotten. They're like covered in dust in the attic in my mind, and like you're just pulling them out and showing them to just dust them off. Look, you remember Little Bear? Holy shit, I do remember Little Bear.
You remember Boone and Little Bear?
Oh shit.
And like it's supposed to be a moment because like then they're friends. They've overcome everything. But like the actor clearly the kid does not know how to look at an inanimate object with any sort of feeling or emotion. So I remember just seeing that and I just start like laughing out loud in the theater and just like my friend that I went with, we were just like both of us just checked out at that moment.
Yeah.
That we were done.
Did you make out?
Nope. My aunt sat in the middle of us so he wouldn't do it. We kept like trying to lean over her and she'd push us back.
I was hoping you had an awesome like we made out during the Indian in the Cupboard story.
Well, I explored my sexuality during the Indian in the Cupboard.
You're like, hey, you want to see my Little Bear?
This is what he's been in since.
Oh man, we're digging up some dirt.
Only one other movie after that.
What was it?
Marvin's Room. I mean, Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. Man,
he's in something called The Show.
Oh, The Show. Yeah, doesn't even have a picture.
Yeah,
He was in that this year. So, man, I don't know who you are, guy, but fuck you.
Hey, man, he might be a listener. He might be a listener. He might be our
He
next.
can stop listening for that performance. This is not for you. Turn this off.
Wow, that's a rare statement.
Here's your money back, kid who played Omri. You give me my money back, I'll give you your money back for Tadpog.
Man, I feel like I was gonna say something, but I got like so just enraptured with the idea of the cover. Oh yeah, we're running along. Who gives a shit? Did you ever read any of the Chronicles of Narnia?
Meg did, but I have not.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have,
I have.
Nicole. I'm surprised because, like, to me, that I like those books, but I have a little disdain for them because my grandmother knew that I was into fantasy, and she gave me several of the Chronicles of Narnia books, and I read them, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. And then she was like, let me tell you how this is about Jesus. And I was like, you fucking tricked me.
God, yeah, because I hadn't read. I read Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Yeah.
Pretty early on, and then I didn't touch the others until I heard the movie was coming out. This was early 2000s.
Yeah,
sometime.
something like that.
And then so I picked. I'm like, hey, yeah, I remember really liking that. So I got them all, read them, and yeah, by like the third one, I was just checked out. But I was so invested in them already at this point that I trudged through. And yeah, it was. It's just. It's almost like. He adds that all in as an afterthought, which I haven't like researched the books or anything.
Yeah.
I don't really know what his goal was. I know he converted Tolkien to Christianity, I think, but
Yeah, because I read they were really good friends.
yeah,
Yeah, I know they were really good friends. I just couldn't remember if it was that or if it was the other way around. Because I thought that
I may have gotten it backwards.
no, I may have it backwards. It's a show about video games. If we're wrong, just fucking deal with it.
But yeah, I'm already checked out by like the third book, but it just keeps going on. And spoilers, I guess. They all fucking die. They all die at the end.
Yeah.
Not even at the end. They
Right,
all
in the
die
beginning.
at the beginning of the last book. Oh, you were in heaven the whole time. Oh, look, I'm Jesus. And I think he literally transforms into Jesus, or in front of it. Yeah.
Nicole, did you read all of them? Mm-hmm. You read
It's been a
all
while.
of them.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
I mean, it's good, and he's a good author.
Yeah.
But
C.S. Lewis. We just keep saying he.
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis, yes, C.S. Lewis.
We know.
It's a
We
great.
know. The listener knows we know. We know that some Christian thing happened with him. Whether he did it to someone else, we don't know. But
I was just gonna do the pronoun game. Just capital he.
I mean, you mentioned that he and Tolkien were really good friends, but are we assuming that everybody knows that that's how the Chronicles of Narnia and Lord of the Rings came about?
This contest.
There was a contest.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a contest between the two of them to see who could write the best like fantasy epic.
Kind of like Frankenstein. How Frankenstein came about.
I didn't know that.
Because that was a similar contest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Was it with Shelley and her husband, right? Trying to write. Who knows what the fuck he wrote?
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, because they had this like cabin retreat or something they would go to annually. And
Man, what a boring couple. Like, we're going to go off for a romantic week in the woods. I challenge you to a book writing contest. Get off my penis. Write your book.
Man, I wish I just get some fucking face. Instead, I gotta write about some goddamn ghoul who fucking pieces corpses together.
Here's a man made of all different parts, and he's more of a man than you'll ever fucking be.
The editor took out the 40 pages describing Frankenstein's monster's cock.
We've reduced Mary Shelley's Frankenstein to a reflection of her marriage.
My number one game is Super Mario World, by the way.
I knew it was. Only because I've been paying attention to the most recent podcasts.
Oh, shit. That's our top 10.
Much better than Tyler and Dave fail at math.
Yeah.
Like, unless something really, really bad happens.
Well, we
right
named
now.
10 games. So we didn't name 9 games or 11 games.
Oh, wait. Let's have a small, confusing argument amongst ourselves about the number of games that we talked about. That episode is so bad.
Josh,
Yeah.
what's your number one Super Nintendo game?
I'm not even going to commit to this.
You're not-
How dare you even ask me? This is why
How dare you, madam?
we
Write a
both,
book.
we both silently agreed not to make a list.
Not to make
by
a
our-
list, but
by-
Silently agreed. Are we going to TADPOG tonight? Yes. Head nod, head nod.
we both knew. We had that moment.
It was in your wedding vows, wasn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. It depends what kind of mood I'm in.
okay.
What about you, Nicole? You played like 4 of them.
Yeah, out of the ones that I played, I would definitely pick Chrono Trigger.
Yeah. Up top. Chrono 5. That's right. Josh can't form a unified front with Tyler.
I like Earthbound, Josh.
I can beat Super Mario World in like 20 minutes.
Shit, that's
Pretty
nothing,
good.
man. 6 minutes.
Using
the speed
using
run?
glitch.
Not me.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah.
I can beat it in like 4 hours.
God, those fucking speedruns. Have you seen the Ocarina of Time speedrun? Mm-mm. Yeah, they just like back jump through the whole fucking game and just exploit all kinds of glitches.
Yeah, I've seen where you can exploit like a glitch and like a spider web in the great Deku Tree. Deku Tree.
Deku Tree.
That great Dick in You tree.
That was the next Zelda game I was thinking about playing.
Remember
Now
when
it's
Kid
definitely-
Zelda with the great Dick in You tree?
Oh, little bear, we're in trouble now.
Oh, man. It's pretty
Yeah.
good. Pretty good time.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's all I got. Welcome to the maybe 2-hour long podcast.
Yeah, we can take some calls still. Fuck it.
Nah.
Okay.
No, please.
You guys have anything else to add? Anything? Thanks for being two of the biggest contributors of this podcast.
Thank you for having
over
us.
the
Yeah,
It's been-
absolutely.
It's been fun.
Even though I kind of had to like shove my foot in the door to get on, and the first few I had to invite myself. First few episodes I was on, but
It's not like John Turley who just like shows up when we record. So, and is now like, I don't know. I've lost count. I don't know. It's either you or him who has the most episodes. And Nicole, you're like three behind.
I just can't catch up. What's
that's
the
fine.
deal?
I'll share my throne with John Turley.
I thought you were going to say me.
No, you got
John's his burger bottom. Not you.
John, here, wear this Naruto costume. You know, we're talking like this is the end of the show, like the end of the podcast,
It's the end of the first chapter.
which makes me
I like that.
I like
realize
that. That's good.
that we haven't really talked about what we're going to do next.
We don't really know. I guess our stopgap is going to be our eventually list.
I think that's an excellent stopgap. Jacob York of wolf fighting fame mentioned it, and I think it's a good idea. In the meantime, we can kind of whittle away at that list. But I mean, you had mentioned in the past that we haven't played a lot of N64 games.
64 games.
Nicole really
64
wants us to do
I do.
Yeah?
I really, really
Will you
want
commit to
all
a
20,
certain-
all 25 of Dorkley's top 25 Super.
Yeah, there we
N64
go.
games.
Will you commit to that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That puts you way over the top as number one contributor.
I mean, all right, sweet. Then if that's the case, if you commit to that, then I say let's do the N64 games next. I'm also really interested in Dreamcast games because I don't know if there's a lot of people talking about Dreamcast games.
I had a 64. I don't know if I had 25 games for it.
I had 25 games. I probably didn't play all 25 of them, but I had 25 games.
I know I had Ocarina of Time and Wave Race.
I had
Yeah, Wave
Race.
Race 64.
Here's my biggest concern about 64 games and really any games after SNES is like I feel like those games are going to be a much bigger time
It's gonna be
investment,
hard to do
right?
it in a week. Yeah.
So that's my big concern about any other list. That's not like of the same era. Like Game Boy games, I feel like would be okay. Yeah, we could do that. NES games, I feel like we could do that. But there's two dudes in a NES who specifically talk about NES games.
And Genesis, we've batted around before
Yeah.
as a possibility.
Yeah, because I missed out on a lot of Genesis games because I never owned one. And I know there's a lot of good ones out there, and we've actually had listeners, ask us to do Genesis games. So
And I feel like PlayStation 1 era would just be, I feel like that would be hard to do.
To be fair about the Genesis, a lot of the good Genesis games were also good Super Nintendo games.
yeah, we'd have to deal with that crossover,
Yeah.
right? Like, what do we do when we talk about a game that's like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 or something like that?
I would say like just a 10-minute segment of like, okay, like a top 100 Genesis games. Number 6 is a crossover game. Here are the differences.
And then we just talk
better or worse.
Talk about our dicks for the rest of the
They
show.
talk about our dicks for the show.
Just Jurassic Park, just play as the raptor and then you're done.
Man, that's got to be the number one game, right? That has to be the number one game on Genesis. And it's just like in the description, it's like, okay, number one game, Jurassic Park. And then there's a screenshot of the game, and then right below, it's just all caps, play as the raptor. 5 exclamation points.
So I guess, listener, if you have any ideas, you hear where we're leaning. If you have any ideas, I'll make this post on Facebook, comment there, do a 5-star review, put it, tweet at us, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
If you agree with Nicole, put that up there. Tweet at Nicole, say hashtag Team Nicole N64
Right.
games.
I'm for that. I'm for opening it up and seeing what people want to hear us talk about.
Can we do Team Dark Dickinson instead of Team Nicole?
Yes. Team Darkness Emily Dickinson.
So what are you going to name your new movie podcast? Do you know yet?
I think she just did. A night to the cinema with Doc Dickinson.
Were you talking like character voice?
Of course.
Awesome. Okay.
What's your character voice? This.
Yeah,
But they all sound like questions? Thanks for listening, everybody. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and at some point SoundCloud.
By the time you listen to this, we will be on SoundCloud.
Yeah, you're right. It'll be in February, so some episodes will be.
So go to SoundCloud, please, and at least like play them a few times. Maybe there's little hearts. Click on the hearts. That means you love us.
You know what we still love?
What's that, Tyler?
5-star iTunes reviews.
Now wait a minute. We got 101.
We got 101.
100.
Well, no, we have 101. We're over quota, Tyler. Let's.
Well, we have 100 5-star reviews and 1 3-star
Okay.
review.
Right. We also have 1 5-star review from Canada, and we now have a 1 5-star review from the UK.
Fucking A.
Yep.
All right.
I haven't checked any of the other
Actually,
countries.
Shake, where's our 5-star?
I haven't checked Japan. I need to. Just to before we put them on blast, I need to do some
Before
homework.
we put the country of Japan on blast.
So, Tadpog Nation, you travel overseas for vacation? Write a 5-star review somewhere. Get a hotel, write a 5-star.
So really, I mean, the more of those we get, the more we pop up in iTunes, the more listeners we get, the more we grow, the better everything gets. So it helps us a whole lot. And we try to give you some power over the show by you helping us. We give you more of what you want. So if there's a game you want us to play, or a person that you want to guest host on the show, or if you have very strong feelings about what list we do next or where we go next with the show, throw that up there too. We very much appreciate it. And we're going to be doing the eventually list as a stopgap. So eventually will come sooner than later. But whatever you put in that 5-star review, we're going to be getting to it eventually.
And not only is it a stopgap, I almost feel like it's a necessity at this point.
Yeah, there's a lot on there.
We have to do a little house cleaning because, like, right now, like
We're hoarders at this point.
exactly. It's like we just have stacks of yellowed newspaper, and it's just like little dusty Indians in the cupboard just everywhere. I mean, it's fucking crazy. We have to do some of the eventually list. Don't worry, guys. Like Tyler said, we're gonna be back. We're gonna be talking about fucking something. In the meantime,
And games.
yeah. It's just gonna be weird, like sweat slapping sounds. It's gonna be a game. It's gonna be a game show.
We're going to fuck something and muse about our experiences.
But the 4 of us again, and we're each gonna fuck 5 different things during the course of the week, and we'll come back and talk about those 5.
Man, we need a new
Nicole's
disclaimer.
list is way better than ours.
In the meantime, you can always find us at tadpog.com. That's where the show notes live. You can find us on Facebook. We're at facebook.com/tadpog. There are a lot of cool people there doing a lot of cool shit. Tyler will normally make an episode post. This is an excellent opportunity for you to tell us what the fuck you want us to talk about, because we're open to suggestion at this point. I feel like we've got some good ideas, but we're willing to cater to our audience, I think. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
We love you guys. You can find us on Twitter. We are at @tadpog_podcast. It's cumbersome, I realize. Thank you for everybody who is retweeting, especially our episode posts. And thank you for the new followers that we've got. We've gotten some new followers. Really appreciate that. And actually really appreciate just the interaction. So we really do appreciate that. If you want to call us, you can. Normally we would take calls, but I'm a big P word tonight and don't want to do them. So, I mean,
A real cunt goblin.
Yes, much better. So call us at 270-883-2555. Leave us a voicemail. Keep it under 3 minutes if possible. We love video game questions. We love questions in general. Questions about the world. Ask us an Indian in the cupboard question. Why don't you? I don't know. Our intro song, Josh?
Moves by Sycamore Drive.
A link to that track can be found where, Nicole?
In the show notes on tadpog.com.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Did I forget something? You're kind of looking at me like I forgot. Okay, great.
I don't think so.
just adoration.
You're not
I just said,
gonna-
no, you were looking at me, so I was like,
okay.
asking me.
You're not gonna do the
What? I forgot something?
yeah,
What'd I forget?
the
The thing.
The thing with what? With the other thing?
thing we all do.
Oh. Yeah, how do you want to close the show? I have a suggestion.
Okay.
So I shouldn't have even asked. Guys, here's how I want to close the show. I would like to close the show with Steve Urkel.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Or Josh could just do it.
That was one guaranteed way to make my grandmother laugh, was whenever I do a
Yeah.
Steve Urkel impression.
Were you
She would like laugh
Yeah.
and then curse.
because he was
Damn Urkel.
Were you wearing any I don't know, special effects?
No,
prosthesis?
you lean back a little bit, you bend your knees,
Yeah.
and then you act like you have suspenders on.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty good. You really got into it.
Yeah.
You owned it.
I didn't have blackface on or anything.
Right. I mean, come on. You're not.
does?
Hold on,
Really?
Nanny. I'm gonna get some shoe polish.
Yeah, you're not fucking incredibly racist.
So until next time,
I won't contribute to this.
Come on. You have to.
Nope.
Please.
Nicole's going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
So until next time, tropical Capricorn.
You two motherfuckers.
That was good. That was good.
May the ghost of Steve Urkel haunt you both. And Urkel on both your houses.
Have any of you guys ever had cum inside your mouth?
Not on purpose.